On the morning of our 5th wedding anniversary, I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to pull my personal records for a design competition abroad. I wasn't expecting anything unusual. But when I looked at the form the clerk handed me, I pointed out a simple mistake: "Sorry, my marital status is incorrect. I'm married, not divorced." The clerk didn't even look up when he replied, "Actually, sir, you and Ms. Emily Carter divorced 3 years ago. On the same day, she remarried. The name of her new husband is Ryan Kim. Do you know him?" I froze. My heart plummeted straight into an abyss. Do I know him? That psycho ruined my life. 5 years ago, Ryan Kim crashed our wedding and had to be dragged away by 20 bodyguards. 4 years ago, he broke into Emily's office naked, begging her to sleep with him, and got himself arrested for 20 days. But the real nightmare happened 3 years ago when he showed up at my studio and, in a fit of rage over Emily rejecting him, cut off my right hand. I nearly bled out on the floor. Emily found out and, with bloodshot eyes, said she'd kill him. I had to physically restrain her from doing it. To punish Ryan, she locked him in a villa on the hilltop and tortured him daily, whipping him, starving him, calling it justice for hurting the man she loved. At least, that's what I thought. But now I was being told that on the very day Ryan took my hand, Emily walked into the marriage license office and married him. No. No, that couldn't be real. My phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "James, happy 5th anniversary. Love you." For 5 years straight, every single message she sent ended with, "Love you." Her love was always loud, wild, consuming. When I was just a no-name designer, this billionaire heiress chased me like I was the only star in her sky. Fireworks lit the city skyline for me. Imported roses bloomed just for me. Jewelry worth millions was dropped in my lap like it was nothing. But what actually moved me? It wasn't the money or the sparkle. It was that one night I had stomach issues and she flew back from overseas just to cook me soup. It was the time I had a breakdown, and she paused a board meeting just to tell me a stupid joke to make me smile. It was when I was attacked with acid by a jealous colleague and she jumped in front of me, shielding me, her own back burning while she whispered, "Don't be scared." She was cold to the world, almost cruel, but to me, she was gentleness itself. How could someone like her ever betray what we had? And yet, something in me cracked. I had to know. I took a cab to the hilltop estate, the one where she supposedly locked Ryan away. From the garden, I heard low, throaty moans. My heart dropped. I stepped closer, parting the wisteria vines, and what I saw knocked the air out of my lungs. Emily. Standing tall, her arm raised, a feathered whip in her hand, striking Ryan, who was tied to the swing frame naked, muscular, and clearly not in pain. He moaned, but not from agony. She dropped the whip and climbed on top of him. She kissed him like a woman starved, full of dominance and desire. Their bodies entangled right there on the custom swing she built for me. I remember her sanding the wood, her hands raw with blisters. "This swing is for my James," she said, "just like my love is." And now she gave both the swing and her love to another man. A man who mutilated me. I stumbled back, chest heaving, hands clenched until my palms bled. I had spent years asking why. But I didn't have to wait long for the answer. As they rested, I heard Ryan's voice, "I still can't believe I actually married you. This feels like a dream." Emily laughed softly. "It's what you deserve." 3 years ago, I mentioned I didn't want James to go abroad for design school. I wanted him to stay. "You're the idiot who thought cutting off his hand would make him stay. Then you turned yourself in, ready to rot in prison for me." How could I not be touched by that kind of devotion? James could bask in my love publicly. You had to be my secret. So marrying you was fair. Fair. That was her word. She thought all of this was fair. I staggered back in a haze, the pain so raw it scraped through my ribs. A memory flashed, Emily saying no one could ever slander me, or they'd pay with blood. Now she kissed the man who ruined me. She gifted him the swing she built for me. I stood there like some dirty secret while she lived a double life. And then my phone buzzed again. James, I'm on my way home. Love you. She had just celebrated 3 years of marriage with another man. Now she wanted to pretend it was 5 years with me. But there was no 5th anniversary. We'd been divorced for 3 years. And if this was her version of love shackling me, stealing my wings, calling the cage affection, then I didn't want it anymore. She said I'd never find out. No, Emily, you'll never see me again. I clutched the application form for the Paris Design Expo, turned around, and made 2 important decisions. First, I submitted a formal request to delete every trace of my identity in the country. Second, I used a new identity to reapply for the competition. After Ryan cut off my hand and fed it to stray dogs, yes, literally there was no chance of reattachment. Emily lost her mind over it, spending billions to create a bionic hand for me. I could function like a normal person. Just not design. My dream was dead. I tried to end it all 3 times. But each time I survived, I forced myself to start again. I taught myself to design with my left hand. 1,000 days. Thousands of tears. My hand blistered and hardened, but I made it. I even got accepted to the Paris competition. I was going to surprise Emily with the news. I wanted her to see that I never bowed to fate. But now, I'm glad I didn't tell her. If I had, she probably would have chopped off my left hand too. My phone buzzed one more time. Your identity cancellation request has been received. Processing will be completed within 10 business days. 10 days. 10 days and I'd be on a flight to Paris. And she'd never find me again. Even if Emily Carter could control half the world, she couldn't control a ghost with no name. That night, I returned to the mansion one last time. Chaos. Emily was in the middle of interrogating the staff, having them all tied up, demanding my whereabouts. When she saw me, her whole body relaxed. James, where were you? I was so worried. She wrapped her arms around me like I was her world. I stood there frozen and said flatly, I went out. Lost track of time. She chuckled, ruffled my hair like I was a child. Next time, bring your wife with you. I'm always on call, you know. Wife. That word stabbed right through me. She wasn't my wife anymore. Hadn't been for 3 years. It's our anniversary, remember? Come see what I've prepared. She dragged me to the helipad out back. Soon we were airborne. Below, thousands of lights spelled out, Love James, across the city. And then we landed in front of a mansion, Gothic, majestic, the kind of place that looked like it belonged in a fantasy novel. I bought it for you, she whispered, her lips grazing my ear. This is now Walker Villa. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. The mansion was styled exactly like the kind I once mentioned loving. The garden bloomed with rare orchids I adored. The playground had every ride I ever liked: carousel, Ferris wheel, roller coaster. Even the petting zoo was full of rescued cats just because I once petted a stray. Her love was real. So detailed, so meticulous. But so was her betrayal. She wiped a tear from my cheek. Honey, you're everything to me. Don't cry. Let me show you what I got next. She opened a jewelry box. This ring, she said, has a chip inside. The matching one I'll wear receives data. Now I'll always know where you are. No more anxiety, no more fear of losing you. Her eyes were wild. Not love obsession. She slipped the ring onto my finger. But just then her phone buzzed. Special ringtone. Ryan Kim. She glanced at it, didn't flinch. A client, she said, and ran to the helicopter. The second she was gone, I looked down at the ring. The one with the tracker. The one she was supposed to wear. I touched the chip, hesitated, and turned it on. A voice came through immediately. I'm sorry, babe. I don't want to be depressed. But 3 years locked up here has been hell. I'm going crazy. Ryan's voice. She was rushing to him. Not for business. For love. So she could set him free. And me? I sat there with a stray cat in my arms, hidden in the shadows. The cat had a home now. But I didn't. The ring slipped from my finger, hitting the floor with a soft clink. She'd worn the wrong one. The one that let me listen. Not the one that let her track me. I smiled bitterly. You said I'd never find out, Emily. But now. You'll never find me again. The next morning, I didn't stay in the lavish Walker villa. I packed only the essentials, me sketchbooks, a few clothes, and the design drafts I'd labored over with my left hand for 3 long years. Everything else, every trace of James Walker, was left behind. Including the blood-stained ring. If Emily ever bothered to check it, she'd hear every second of the hell I endured. And maybe, just maybe, it would burn through her carefully curated reality like acid. I wasn't counting on it, though. I knew her too well. She'd probably just find a way to convince herself it was all a misunderstanding. That she meant well. But none of it mattered anymore. I wasn't hers to love, control, or betray. I boarded my flight to San Francisco using my new identity, Autumn James. A name that meant nothing to anyone, and that was the point. I didn't exist in any registry. Not in New York, not in D.C., not even in the system Emily's Carter Corporation controlled. No one could trace Menet, even her. As the plane soared into the clouds, I looked down on the city lights and felt, for the first time in years, something close to freedom. It was fleeting, fragile, but real. And I would protect it with everything I had left. The journey was rough. My body was still a battlefield of half-healed wounds, and even though I'd dyed my hair, covered my scars, and layered up to hide what was underneath, every movement reminded me of what I'd barely escaped. But I pushed through. I had to. I landed in San Francisco after what felt like forever, face pale, arms trembling, but alive. I was barely out of the gate when I saw it, a kid maybe college age laughing with his phone out, blue jeans, white t-shirt, carefree energy glowing off him. I don't know why I noticed him. Maybe because he looked like who I used to be before everything fell apart. Then something shiny flashed off the strap of his bag, and instinct took over. A glint of a knife. A shadow rushing forward. My body moved before my brain caught up. I lunged, yanked the kid to the side, and we crashed to the floor. The knife missed us by inches. Airport security swarmed in, tackled the attacker, and dragged him off screaming nonsense. I didn't hear it. My body screamed in pain. My vision blurred. I passed out. When I woke up again, I was lying in a sunlit room that looked like a luxury ad for a wellness retreat. Clean linens. Air smelled like lavender. Someone had taken off my coat and tended to my wounds. My head throbbed. You're awake. The boy I'd saved was sitting by the bed. Up close, he looked even younger. His eyes were huge with relief and genuine concern. Dude, you saved my life. Thank you. I tried to sit up but winced. He poured me water like I was royalty. I'm Zach. Zach Lynn. My sister owns this place. You're in our private clinic. Hope that's okay. I didn't want to take you to a public hospital. Your injuries looked serious. Like, you had scars everywhere, and I figured it might be personal. I blinked at him. So much for staying anonymous. Thanks, I muttered, throat dry. Name's Autumn. Zach beamed. Cool name. Kinda artsy. Like you a painter or something? Designer, I said, sipping the water. Fashion designer. No way. My sister Olivia is obsessed with fashion. She runs one of the biggest investment firms here, Lynn Enterprises. You guys would totally vibe. I chuckled hoarsely. Hope she's more stable than most CEOs I know. He laughed. Oh, for sure. She's a powerhouse. Kind of scary but in a hot way. I paused. Did you say Olivia Lynn? Yep. He pulled out his phone, flipped to an image. That's her. Why? I stared at the screen. I knew that name. Anyone in New York's elite circles knew her. If Emily Carter was queen of the East Coast, Olivia Lynn ruled the West. But unlike Emily's tempestuous, obsessive reign, Olivia was all grace, intellect, and brutal competence. There was a running joke in design circles: if Olivia Lynn was in the room, Emily Carter had to wait her turn. I wasn't sure whether that was comforting or terrifying. Later that day, Olivia came to see me in person. She was tall, poised, and walked like the world moved out of her way. Mr. Autumn, she said, extending her hand. I heard you saved my brother's life. That means I owe you a debt. I shook her hand, surprised at how calm she made me feel. Really wasn't a big deal. It was to me, she said. Please. Anything you need while you're here: resources, support, privacy, it's yours. I didn't even hesitate. There's one thing, I said. I need to stay off the radar. Completely. No traces. No press. No digital footprint. Done, she replied instantly. Like it was nothing. And Autumn, she added as she turned to leave, if you ever want to design again, I have a few connections. Thanks, I said. But I plan on getting there myself. Zach stayed with me that night, rambling on about school, hobbies, his exes, and whatever else popped into his head. I listened. He was good noise, pure, untarnished, untouched by the kind of pain I carried like a second skin. When I told him I was in town for a design competition, he practically lit up. Wait, you're in the San Fran Design Expo? Yeah. Dude. That's huge. I'm coming. Nah, scratch that. I'm bringing signs. I laughed for real. You don't even know what I made. Doesn't matter. You've already got a fan club. He meant it. I didn't realize until then how long it had been since someone said something like that without expecting something in return. I slept better that night than I had in months. Over the next few days, my injuries faded enough to hide. I thanked Zach and Olivia again and moved out to stay with my mentor, Emily Dawson, a renowned designer who had invited me to San Francisco to compete. She didn't recognize me with my new face, my new name, my new left-handed designs. I didn't tell her the truth. Not yet. But I'd show her. I'd show the world. I'd show Emily Carter, wherever the hell she was, that James Walker wasn't just some broken, discarded man. I was Autumn now. And Autumn was about to rise. The first time I stepped onto the main floor of the San Francisco Design Expo, I didn't feel fear. I felt clarity. Like this was where I was meant to be, not just to compete, but to reclaim something no one could ever steal again: me self-worth. The venue buzzed with designers from all over the world, the kind of eclectic chaos only fashion could stir up. I wasn't just here for exposure or ego. I was here because after everything Emily and Ryan had taken from me, I still had something left to give. The judges were seated in a grand semicircle, each more intimidating than the last, but my eyes locked instantly on one woman in the center: Olivia Lynn. That Olivia Lynn. Zach's sister. My host. The woman who promised me support but hadn't mentioned she was the main judge. I felt my spine stiffen. Damn it. I'd hoped to make my mark on my own, without connections, without pity, without anything that could give people an excuse to question me. But now it looked like I'd be labeled as her pick the moment I walked on stage. Still, I forced myself to breathe. It wasn't like she could protect me from public judgment. Not in a global competition like this. If I wanted to win, I'd have to fight for it myself. Contestants were whittled down fast. Drama brewed in the background, rivalries, sabotage rumors, rigged accusations, but I stayed focused. When it came down to the final elimination before the championship round, there were only two of us left to fill the last spot, me and Victor Beaumont, a French-American designer with movie star good looks and the arrogance to match. Word around the expo was that Victor only entered because he was in love with someone on the judging panel. One guess who? I was no stranger to those kinds of stories. I used to be one. Victor strutted on stage beside me like he was modeling his own brand. His design was a sleek, traditional tux, custom tailored to emphasize classical masculinity. No doubt it was high-level craftsmanship. But when the spotlight hit me, I stepped up with something completely different: a t-shirt. Just a plain, well-fitted t-shirt. The audience looked confused for a beat, but I didn't give them time to doubt me. My design is rooted in simplicity, I said into the mic. It's not meant to shout. It's meant to fit. Comfortably, confidently, on everyone. Style shouldn't be a kajee, it should be a release. This t-shirt moves with you, not against you. It's not about the brand. It's about freedom. I saw a few judges sit forward. Some nodded. Olivia's eyes lit up, not with familiarity, but with respect. She wasn't faking it. Then Victor stepped forward, holding his tux like a sacred object. This piece represents a dream, he said, his deep voice oozing romance. A tux for the day I marry the woman I love. I hope she recognizes it. He turned, gaze fixed on Olivia like a lovesick soap opera character. Silence. Then Olivia blinked, perfectly poised. This isn't a dating show, Mr. Beaumont. My vote goes to Autumn. A wave of murmurs spread through the hall as the rest of the judges cast their votes. 8 of the 9 picked me. I made it. But Victor didn't take the loss quietly. As I stepped off stage, he called out, "Wait. Are we not going to talk about that?" He pointed. This man's right hand is fake. He's hiding something. No one's ever heard of him. And you're telling me he made it this far with his left hand? Come on. This competition is supposed to be about real talent. Gasps. Whispers. I felt the heat rush to my face. My right hand hung at my side, still and quiet. The glove I wore couldn't hide what was underneath forever. I walked back to the center of the stage and pulled it off. Gasps turned into stunned silence. You're right, I said, voice steady. 3 years ago, I lost my dominant hand. I had to start over from zero. I didn't enter this competition to be pitted. I entered it to prove that I'm more than what I lost. Every line, every stitch, every choice you see here was drawn with my left hand. I don't want sympathy. Just a chance. Victor looked like he wanted to keep fighting, but Olivia shut it down. I believe you've had your chance, she said coolly. Now sit. From that moment on, everything changed. Designers I'd barely spoken to before now treated me like I was untouchable. Fans posted clips of my speech. Left-handed legend. The rebirth of James Walker. If only they knew. The final round came fast. We had to turn our designs into wearable, market-ready pieces within 72 hours. No team, no assistants, just skill. I worked non-stop. I poured every ounce of my trauma, healing, and hope into that fabric. But on the night before the championship, just as I was finishing the last seam, my phone lit up with a push alert. Autumn James trending rumored to be dating Judge Olivia Lynn. Favoritism scandal explodes. My blood ran cold. It had only been a matter of time. Emily Carter must have seen it. I imagined her sitting in one of her ivory towers, smashing another wineglass, thinking she'd finally found me. But the real surprise wasn't her. It was Victor. Hours later, he uploaded a video. A full apology. He admitted he started the rumor out of jealousy. Said he couldn't live with the guilt after watching me work with so much heart. He didn't cheat, Victor said into the camera. He just outdesigned me. Olivia's brother Zach called me not long after. My sister applied pressure. Victor's family owns vineyards. One whisper of scandal, and their stock tanks. He folded like a lawn chair. You're clean, Autumn. Go win this thing. I stared at my phone, stunned. Not because Victor confessed but because someone had fought for me without expecting anything in return. The next day, when I stepped into the final show, there was no fear. Just drive. The crowd was bigger, louder, the cameras sharper. I debuted my full collection minimalist streetwear made from sustainable fabric, designed to fit every body type. It wasn't flashy, but it was revolutionary. Every person who tried it on glowed. Real clothes. Real people. Real movement. And when the final vote came in, I knew before they said it. I'd won. Cheers erupted. Camera flashes blinded me. I held up my trophy with my left hand, the one I used to hate. The one that saved me. Backstage, a representative from Lynn Enterprises approached me about a contract. We'd love to have you on board. I hesitated. Actually, he's not signing, Olivia's voice rang out as she walked in. He's going solo. The rep blinked. But, he belongs to himself. That's the whole point. She looked at me. Right? I nodded. Right. Later, after the chaos died down, Olivia pulled me aside. Her voice was calm, but her words hit like lightning. I don't want to pressure you, Autumn. But I meant it when I said I admired you. The way you rebuild. The way you don't let the world kill your spirit. That's rare. And beautiful. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't ready for something new. Not yet. But I wasn't afraid of it either. Maybe someday. Maybe soon. For now, I had myself. I had the whole damn world ahead of me. And I had the one thing no one could take, not even Emily Carter. My future. You'd think winning an international design competition would buy me some peace, but that was just another illusion I'd been naive enough to believe in. Fame doesn't come quietly, and neither do ghosts. The moment my name hit trending charts as the solo winner who overcame disability, the vultures came circling, not just the media, not just old friends, crawling out of their holes, but her. Emily Carter. Of course she saw it. I knew at the moment a courier delivered a crisp black envelope to my new apartment. No return address. Just my name printed in gold. Inside. An invitation. Walker Villa charity auction hosted by the Carter Foundation. Special appearance, CEO Emily Carter. Attire, formal. RSVP mandatory. She really had the nerve to use the villa she once gifted me, the one I left behind in pieces, to throw her comeback gala. At first I laughed. Then I got angry. Then I showed up. Because if she wanted a scene, I'd give her one. I walked in wearing a design no one had seen yet, black tailored suit with midnight blue undertones that shimmered like oil under the chandelier light. A quiet storm. Whispers spread fast. That's him. James Walker. Didn't he disappear for 3 years? I thought he was dead. I ignored it all. My eyes scanned the ballroom until they landed on her. Emily. Standing at the top of the staircase like a queen descending from Olympus. She wore red, of course, powerful, dangerous, intentional. Every move she made was calculated to stir hearts or crush them. And when her gaze locked with mine, I saw it had flicker of something she tried to bury under her perfect facade. Panic. Guilt. Or maybe just rage that I dared to look better than her in her own show. James, she purred when we finally stood face to face. You look well. Paris suits you. I'm not in Paris anymore, I said coldly. And neither are you. Touché, she smiled. I see you're still sharp. But I didn't invite you to fight. I just thought maybe we could talk. Privately. Sure. Just like old times, right? Except this time, maybe don't drug me first. Her smile twitched. Just a little. That's not fair. Neither is waking up in a hotel bed missing a hand. The room behind us felt miles away, but I could feel the tension boiling. Emily took a deep breath. I admit I made mistakes. Ryan manipulated me, used me, twisted everything. But you held the knife, I cut in. You chose to believe him. And now you want to rewrite it all because I'm back on top. Her lips pressed together. You think I want your fame? No. You want your control back. She flinched. Just barely. I'm sorry, she whispered. You don't have to forgive me. But you have to understand I never stopped loving you. I blinked. Then laughed. That's rich coming from someone who married the guy who destroyed me. I divorced him, she said quietly. The moment I found out what he did. You think I didn't suffer too? You think I didn't die a little every time I saw your name disappear from the world? You let it happen, I said, stepping closer. You let me go. And now you're standing here in the ruins of what we used to be, acting like love is some excuse. It's not an excuse, she said, eyes glossy. It's a fact. The crowd noticed. Cameras turned. Murmurs swelled. I turned my back. Then let the facts bury you. But the night wasn't done with me. After I left the ballroom, I found Ryan Kim waiting by my car, uninvited and smug as hell. James, he said, arms wide. Long time. Not long enough. Relax, he smirked. I'm not here to fight. I just wanted to see the miracle man in person. Left-handed prodigy. Must be exhausting being everyone's favorite comeback story. You jealous? I asked. You should be. You lost everything. His grin didn't falter. I wouldn't be so sure. Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small silver device recorder. He hit play. Emily's voice crackled out, soft and haunting. Once he signs over the rights, we'll bury him with kindness. He won't even see it coming. Just like before. My blood turned cold. Where'd you get that? Let's just say, he shrugged, not everyone in her empire is loyal. And I figured, why should you get to destroy her when I've been waiting longer? You're disgusting, I muttered. She used you. She used me. And now you want to blackmail her? No, he said, sliding the recorder into my pocket. I want you to. I want her to see what loyalty costs. Think of it as closure. I drove away, unsure whether I should throw the recorder into the ocean or use it like a weapon. I hated him. I hated her. But most of all, I hated that part of me still wanted to believe she had meant something. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not even Olivia's late-night call helped. She'd seen the headlines. You okay? She asked. You disappeared from the live stream. Yeah, I said. Just ghosts. She paused. Do you want me to fly over? No, I whispered. If I see anyone kind right now, I might break. Then don't break, she said gently. Rebuild. And that was it. That one word snapped something loose. I got up, pulled out the old tapes Emily and I used to record when we were planning our joint label. I compared voices. Patterns. Intent. I played Ryan's tape again. Then I made a decision. The next morning, I showed up at the Carter Corporation press conference uninvited, again. The media gasped. Flashbulbs fired. And when I stepped on stage beside Emily, she looked like she'd seen a ghost. James, she whispered. Don't. Too late, I said. You wanted closure. Let's give them a show. I pulled out the recorder, held it to the mic, and hit play. The room went still. Words leaked like venom. Her voice. Her plan. Her betrayal. Again. But this time, the world was watching. She stood frozen, mascara bleeding into the corners of her eyes. "That wasn't supposed to, I know," I said quietly. "It never is." And I walked off stage, leaving her empire to burn. I thought exposing Emily on stage would finally bring me peace, or at least some kind of clean break, but peace is a luxury men like me don't get, not when the world eats scandals for breakfast and corporations spin betrayal into PR campaigns by lunchtime. By the time I left that stage, her lawyers were already scrambling, her PR team posting statements like, "deeply regretful misunderstanding," and "audio taken out of context." Classic damage control. But the damage was done. Stock prices dropped. Investors fled. Board members resigned. And Emily Carter, the woman who once owned everything, including Mua, is suddenly fighting for her own seat at the empire she'd built on ashes. I didn't watch it all from the shadows either. I went public. Sat down with Chloe Park from Evening Truth, let her interview me for 2 hours live. I didn't hold back. I told the world everything: how Ryan Kim staged the fake marriage, how Emily chose power over truth, how I lost my hand because of a trap they set while calling it business. People ate it up. Overnight, I went from comeback designer to the symbol of resilience, justice, and poetic revenge. But you know what they don't tell you about revenge? It doesn't heal you. It just changes the direction of the fire. And sometimes, when the fire cools, all you're left with is a pile of burned-out memories and the sickening silence of your own echo. That silence hit me hardest when Olivia stopped answering my texts. At first, I thought she was just giving me space, maybe respecting the mess I had to walk through. But then a week passed. 2. 3. And the only thing I got was a short message from Zach: "She's gone back to San Francisco. Dad had a stroke." I froze. I hadn't even known her father was sick. And that guilt hit me like a brick to the ribs. I boarded a flight the next morning without thinking twice. When I landed, I went straight to the Lynn Family Hospital, but Zach met me at the gate and pulled me aside. "She doesn't want to see anyone right now," he said. "Especially not you." "Zach, please." I didn't know. "I would've what?" he snapped. "You were too busy torching your past to notice who was standing beside you in the present." Olivia waited, James. She waited while you chased closure, and all she got in return was headlines. "I never meant to hurt her." "You didn't mean to hurt Emily either," he said quietly. "But you did." I left without seeing her. That night, I stayed at a hotel near the hospital and stared at the ceiling until dawn. Then I got up, wrote the only thing I could, an apology. Real, raw, full of everything I'd never said out loud. I left the letter with the nurse and caught the next flight back. What else could I do? Meanwhile, Ryan Kim wasn't staying quiet. He started doing podcasts. Telling his side. Rewriting history like he was some misunderstood antihero. But people didn't buy it. Especially when Chloe released the full version of our interview, including clips of Ryan's emails and contracts proving the setup. He got sued by 3 of his former partners, lost his board seat at his startup, and went underground. Last I heard, he was hiding in Vegas, living off what little he had left after his assets were frozen. Karma, meet Ryan. Emily, on the other hand, surprised me. She didn't run. She didn't post a Notes app apology or disappear into Europe like everyone expected. Instead, she announced she was stepping down from Carter Corporation permanently. Then, a week later, she held a press conference in front of the Walker Villa. No cameras allowed. Just a single live stream with her standing alone on the steps, holding a mic and wearing no makeup, no red dress, just a plain white blouse and jeans. She talked for 20 minutes. Told the truth. Admitted everything. And then, at the end, she said, "This property was once gifted to someone I loved. I took it back when I thought love was possession. I'm returning it now, not as an apology, but as closure. Let him turn it into something better." Then she walked away. Just like that. I didn't know what to feel. Gratitude? Pity? Bitterness? Maybe all three. But I took the keys. Went back to the villa that once held all my nightmares and stood in the center of the sunlit living room with broken walls and peeling paint and decided maybe I could turn it into something better. So I called a few friends. Zach came, surprisingly. He even brought Olivia's old sketches from college. She still draws, he said. Even if she pretends she doesn't. We spent weeks rebuilding that villa, turned the garden into a therapy retreat for artists recovering from trauma, installed a studio for amputee designers, built an AI-powered drafting desk for anyone with physical limitations. We named the project Reframe. And just before opening day, I got a letter. No name. Just handwriting I hadn't seen in months. James, I saw the live stream. You did it. You turned pain into purpose. I'm proud of you. But I'm still healing, too. If we're meant to meet again, I want it to be when we're both whole. Until then, keep building. Oh, I stared at that, for a long time. Then folded the paper and slipped it into my jacket. Reframe opened to global attention. Articles poured in. Offers, donations, speaking invitations. I accepted a few. Turned down most. I wasn't chasing the spotlight anymore. I just wanted to create spaces where no one would feel like I once did disposable. One night, as I locked up the studio, a familiar voice called out behind me. I turned. Emily stood there, holding a single orchid in a clay pot. It was your mom's favorite flower, she said. I thought maybe the place could use one more touch of softness. I took it, set it gently on the windowsill. Thanks. She nodded. You don't have to forgive me. I just wanted you to know I am leaving for Singapore. New start. Good, I said. We all need one. Take care of the villa. Always. She smiled. Then left for good. I never saw her again. But I did see Olivia. Eventually. I didn't see her again until nearly a year later. The villa had grown into something real, more than a project, more than therapy, more than healing. It became a sanctuary, a place where broken dreams found new blueprints, and every shattered designer or traumatized creator who walked through the door knew this place wasn't about pity, it was about purpose. We hosted workshops, retreats, even started a mentorship fund for amputee students. The media still came around sometimes, but the noise faded eventually, and I was glad for it. I didn't want to be anyone's symbol anymore. Just James Walker. The guy who once lost everything and decided to build again. Then one rainy afternoon, just before closing up, I stepped into the atrium and saw her. Olivia. Standing there like the storm hadn't touched her, like no time had passed, like the years had folded neatly into the lines of her coat. She was holding a sketchpad, soaked along the edges. Our eyes met, and my heart did that stupid thing it used to do back when I was just a nobody sketching in Paris, and she was the girl who offered me a sandwich and half her umbrella. You're late, I said, trying not to choke on it. She gave me a small smile. I missed the train. For 11 months. That's a long delay. Worth the wait. I walked over slowly, unsure of what to say, what not to say. There was so much that could ruin this moment, too many wounds, too many apologies already written and unsent. But when she handed me the sketchpad, everything else fell away. It was full of villa redesigns. Ideas she'd drawn from afar. Ways to expand, to soften the edges, to let in more light. You never stopped thinking about this place, I said quietly. I never stopped thinking about you, she replied. We didn't kiss right then. It wasn't that kind of moment. It was better. She sat down at the table, pulled out her pencils, and we started sketching. Together. Like nothing had broken. Like everything had always led to this. Over the next few months, Olivia moved into the guest house on the edge of the orchard. Yeah, we planted an orchard. It started as a metaphor, nod to the one thing I used to associate with control, captivity, and Emily's twisted version of love. But now, under the open sky, the orchard became freedom. Growth. Time. Olivia helped design every curve of the walking paths, every bench under a lychee tree, every wind chime made from recycled parts of my old prosthetics. Kids came to paint. Veterans came to sit. Survivors came to breathe. And I watched her in all of her quiet focus, her way of leaning into the pain instead of running from it, the softness she never lost. And one night, after one of our late walks, I finally told her everything. All of it. The worst parts. How I blamed myself for trusting Emily too long, for getting so lost in revenge that I almost missed the one person who never asked me to be anyone but myself. She didn't interrupt. She just listened, then held my hand. And I knew. I wasn't rebuilding alone anymore. We never had a big wedding. No tabloids, no suits, no orchids flown in from Switzerland. Just us, Zach officiating with a crooked grin, a small crowd of our reframe family gathered in the atrium, and a single lychee blossom in Olivia's hair. Simple. Honest. Mine. A year after that, Olivia opened her own center frame forward, a branch of our villa focused on storytelling and emotional design. She took in survivors who didn't speak with words but with color, movement, silence. And in the evenings, we'd cook together in the open kitchen, no longer walking on glass. I built furniture again. Wooden frames, sturdy and warm, with carvings that told stories without needing captions. Sometimes tourists would ask, "Are you that James Walker?" And I'd smile and say, "Not anymore. Just James." As for Emily Carter, I never heard from her again. But I saw her name once attached to a scholarship fund for whistleblower designers. She didn't attach her face. Just a quiet donation. Maybe that was her way of making peace. Ryan Kim disappeared from the radar. Some say he opened a bar in Nevada. Others say he's in crypto. Honestly, doesn't matter. I don't need to chase ghosts anymore. One spring evening, as I walked the edge of the orchard, I spotted a little boy sitting under the same tree I once hated. He had a sketch pad in his lap, tongue poking out in concentration. When I asked what he was drawing, he held up a lopsided version of our villa with rockets coming out the windows. "It's going to fly someday," he said. I grinned. That's the best idea I've heard all week. Because maybe that's what all of this was for. Not just revenge. Not just healing. But flight. Rising again, not as the person we were, but the one we could become. And when I looked back toward the porch and saw Olivia waving at me, apron covered in flour, her laugh floating across the trees, I knew this was the life I'd waited for. Not perfect. But free. And finally real.